Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now November 17th of 2020, and ever since the very end of the Skywalker saga, a lot of Star Wars fans around the world have been very curious about the future of the franchise by Disney, Lucasfilm, Bob Iger, Bob Chapek, you name it, and exactly what this new universe is really going to look like in comparison to the Kathleen Kennedy era of Star Wars, and how that's really going to entice the Star Wars fans to go ahead and see these new Star Wars movies, these new Star Wars TV shows, and more. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that, yes, we do know that they are now in a position where they can actually see a light at the end of the tunnel. A lot of progress is being made for the Disney Plus streaming service and for new Star Wars movies that are currently in development. In fact, a lot of work is being poured in to these new Star Wars movies and TV shows between George, John, and Dave, as well as Bob Chapek. However, one major thing about the movies that is actually very much, a big thing by Bob Chapek, because Bob Chapek has been really making a lot of changes behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm. Given that he is the new Disney CEO, he has been trying to regulate Star Wars, trying to really evolve the franchise into making it something more successful than ever before, and that's exactly what he's aiming to do right now. However, what's really intriguing is, of course, that with the Skywalker saga now over, both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with the sequel trilogy and moving on to other Star Wars projects. It's explained, however, that just recently the Disney CEO Bob Chapek canceled a handful of Star Wars movies that were still in the early development phase. Now, it's further described that the films that were actually going to be developed by Kathleen Kennedy were described as spin-off films of the High Republic era that were indeed initiated by Kathleen Kennedy to be used in the future of her version of the new Star Wars universe. So let's stop right here for a second, is that these new Star Wars movies that were canceled just recently and finalized by Bob Chapek, that were actually canceled out, were going to be spin-off films of the High Republic era, and that these spin-off movies were actually going to be initiated all by Kathleen Kennedy. She is the one who greenlit them. And honestly, I think that this was a good move by Bob Chapek, because at the end of the day, he knows what he's doing with Star Wars. He knows what the Star Wars fans want to see on the big screen, right? So it gets a little bit more worse, in my opinion. Now, further, it's described that these new Star Wars movies were going to focus completely away from wars in the universe and would only tease the use of lightsabers, with no lightsaber duels in these actual movies. This is exactly how Kathleen Kennedy wanted it to be. And they wanted to focus more on peace and using Star Wars movies to focus on natural tragedies. Now, I'm not quite sure how a lot of Star Wars fans would have reacted to this. So, basically, Kathleen Kennedy wanted to focus away from wars and wanted to focus on natural tragedies and or natural disasters that would actually be a very big risk to the Jedi's existence on different worlds. We're going to get into that in just a second. Now, this sounds like Kathleen Kennedy mixing Star Wars with the 1990s movies that focused on end of the world stuff, right? That was a big thing in the 90s. So further, Kathleen Kennedy's plan for the High Republic spin-off movies included films that would focus on natural disasters, like I say, that would pose as a risk to the Jedi, such as asteroids, supernovas, and other types of disasters, that would indeed be used as a threat against the Jedi on different worlds during this actual era. It's explained that Bob Chapek and George Lucas did not like or enjoy these ideas and decided to cancel them entirely after Kathleen Kennedy lost her creative power and control over a handful of Star Wars projects. Now, further, it's said that Kennedy was also developing Old Republic Star Wars movies and was indeed initiating those movies to be made in the near future as well. Those also got canceled by Bob Chapek since Kennedy was changing the fan-favorite characters drastically in a negative way. So, I don't know about you guys, but to me, this really does come off as Kathleen Kennedy trying to mix Star Wars with, like I said, disaster films from the 1990s, kind of like all those asteroid movies that we got in that decade. I'm not quite sure how this really would have worked out. To tell you the truth, it doesn't sound all that exciting to me, focusing on the Jedi and not including any kind of wars and no lightsaber duels and just teasing lightsabers and throwing in natural disasters like asteroids and supernovas. Gotta tell you guys the truth, I don't know how that would have actually flied with a lot of Star Wars fans out there. I think that what Kathleen Kennedy was trying to do was that she was trying to be very original and trying way too hard to be original. That's at least how I see things, and I'm not quite sure how this really would have been executed on the big screen. You know, it's going to be very hard to explain how that would have been like. I'm not quite sure. Maybe this would have worked, maybe on Disney Plus at the minimum. I'm not quite sure about that either, but yeah, guys, overall, let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding from night to moon. We hear them moans again.